Hi there, kiddos. Today, your Google form looks a little bit like this. It's on covalent bonding, and you are going to work out these 10 questions using this slideshow on covalent bonding. I've got a couple short videos in here. I do want you to watch those, okay? Sorry about that. Let me just get rid of that. Okay, so covalent bonding is another way that atoms can bond, and it's about sharing electrons this time. So you can think about this as how electrons can kind of float in figure eights around both elements. So our key points today are how are atoms held together with covalent bonds, what are the properties, and how do bonded atoms become partially charged. And this is a little video that's kind of interesting. It's about how like gecko feet work. Okay, so I want you to watch that. Here's another little short video about covalent bonding. I want you to watch that too. That works best if you have it in present mode. Here are objectives. So that's more about describing how covalent bonds are held together, identify the properties, and explain how elements can become partially charged. So reading the slideshow, you're going to see that chemical bonds can form when atoms share electrons. That's usually being shared between a nonmetal and another another element of the same kind. So iodine we can see in the picture here below, fluorine right here. So nonmetals, they make diatomic molecules. That's a covalent bond. So when the attraction shared between shared electrons and the protons in the nucleus that hold the atoms together, and that becomes a molecule. So in covalent bonding, we call it molecules. In ionic compounds, we call them compounds. So just a little different terminology there. You can show this sharing of electrons with these dot diagrams that we worked on earlier in the school year. Here's some more dot diagrams. And so H2O is a water molecule, and it's held together by sharing of electrons. And like I said before, you can kind of think of that as those electrons are moving around in like figure eights around both sets of atoms. And so there are these three different kinds: single bond, double bond's a little stronger than a single bond, and a triple bond is a little stronger than a double bond. That explains the different kinds of bonds. You can read that on your own. You don't need me for that. Unlike ionic compounds, molecular compounds usually don't conduct electric current when melted or dissolved in water, and they have lower melting points and lower boiling points. Okay, so poor conductors, low melting points and boiling points. Read through that stuff. Good stuff. This is talking about why wires are insulated and how that insulation protects them. This is graphing that boiling points and melting points, excuse me. That's a little practice. You don't have to do that. We're going to be working some more with graphing later on this school year. So when these covalent bonds are sharing, sometimes atoms are bigger than the other parts, and when they have to spend more time around the bigger side, then we say that becomes a polar bond. And so it has a side that has a certain charge, and the nonpolar bonds, they share equally. So like this H2 shares these electrons equally. The electrons spend as much time going around both of those atoms. When it's around the fluorine and the hydrogen, they spend more time on the fluorine, and so we say that one side has a more attractive side to it. They're shared unequally. So nonpolar bonds. Read more about that. There's more about the properties. You have 10 questions. I think we did it in one video today. Email me if you have questions.